Hello one and all. Today we're going to review a movie where wide-eyed optimism could just be mistaken for watching a deranged stalker high on milk and cookies. Welcome to a useless movie review of Elf, the Bar Humbug edition. So let's get straight into this masterpiece of modern cinema, where we see an old man in tights reading myths from a book to get us in the Christmas spirit. You might think it's the usual party political broadcast by government to let you know how things are going so good in the economy, but remember, it's the season of good cheer, so of course those bastards wouldn't be working. Now I know how we're all meant to be politically correct and say happy holidays or Allah Akbar, but to be honest, I just don't give a shit. And so we get a rundown of how Christmas works and, well, you know how myths sometimes tell a completely different story to what really happened. You know, like how the Roswell crash was really a weather balloon and not a UFO, or how buying games on Steam means you actually own the game, or the fact voting for a political party will make your life in any way better. Well, case in point, here we see Santa's elves doing over a joint where the owner is asleep. I mean, that's nonsense, right? We all know elves are really over 6 feet tall. Anyway, I digress. So the little bastards set light to the Smurf village just to collect on insurance, and before you have a chance to put on your 3D glasses, we're treated to a mythical view of a sweatshop. Not any of your run-of-the-mill Chinese sweatshops though. No, this one's a true blue American one, where workers are free to pee into a bottle under the desk, or asked to go to the toilet and get penalised for taking time off work. Luckily, the boss, who made a half-assed attempt at creating a red Dalek costume, tells everyone that if they don't work another 10 hours straight, they'll have a wooden pole shoved right up them. And this is greeted with the usual Christmas cheers. And even little Johnny, who doesn't know why his predecessor is in hospital for asbestos poisoning, seems to be breathing in the holiday spirit. Now, with this delightful backstory of I just don't care out of the way, we get into the movie proper. Now, a lot of people who spend their lives in a nice white coat and padded cell might say they actually like this movie, but I feel it may just be my job to point out how dark and maladjusted it really is. So some gender-neutral religious type locks up the asylum kids for the night so they can get some quality PS4 playtime in, and Santa flops his sack out and scoffs all the THC-laced cookies and milk, as is tradition. On a side note, if you don't believe in that tradition, I can't say I'll be coming to your place at Christmas time. And hey, if you do believe in that tradition, I can't promise I'll even remember ever having been at your place for the holidays. Some might call that a win-win, but I digress. Meanwhile, back at some pole or other, a couple of elves are trying to work out how to pee while wearing tights when Santa comes in and explains that apparently no one gives a shit about fidget spinners anymore. As the good-natured carousing goes on though, the package marked Harvey Weinstein that was undeliverable makes an appearance. So being that the present was undeliverable, they decide to keep it, and so it's off to school, where it goes for indoctrination. The main 3 points of this school are basically enjoy doing the same thing every day, remember inclusion, and shout down all opposition to your beliefs. So exactly like living in 2019, really. And then, before we even care, Buddy gets his first car and basic maintenance lesson. Of course, he has to pay for his car and petrol somehow, and so he's put to work in the local sweatshop, replacing the latest asbestos worker, but unfortunately he's too slow due to his incontinence issues, and it doesn't work out. Ultimately, he's moved over to being head tester for the Joker's explosive Russian roulette dolls, which doesn't seem to help his incontinence problems at all. And it's not long before his Dr. Day's pay for going to the toilet. It's here he's told that they found his real father, who's living in New York, and it's not long before he's running away like a poorly drawn anime girl to go and meet him. Now while he's taking half the movie runtime travelling to meet his dad, We get a cutaway of him busy explaining to the latest strip club applicant why she's not really what he's got in mind for the role of dungeon mistress. Once our protagonist eventually makes it to the big smoke, we're treated to an off-the-peg performance of what Will Ferrell's acting is really best known for. A wide-eyed, weird stalker who likes to shout at others over toilet stalls and whose hobbies include being a dick to others and watching men work out from behind. Still, his dad doesn't seem to mind he's a bit defective and invites him around for dinner that evening to meet the rest of the family. After staying over, he decides to invent a new low-fat cereal, just the way the big companies like to do it. And it's not long before he's up to his old hilarious sugar-induced antics again, perfectly summed up by a skip down idiot lane. When the sugar wears off, he overhears his father saying that the script for this movie is a formulaic piece of crap, and before we know it, we're on the downhill slope towards the end of the formula. The part where everyone realizes it's their topsy-turvy world of being a responsible member of society that's out of place, and the only real way to live is to go full retard. The end. Thank Christ. Merry Christmas, everyone. Ho 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 ho.